Shwmae pawb, good evening. It's a Sunday evening again, and it's my job to bring you something on a Sunday evening you can get your teeth into. So let's turn back to my subject this evening. That there is Eglwys Dewi Sant. And do you know what? Here's a bit of homework for you. When was that built? Doesn't say on the front. I can't see it myself. It might be there somewhere. Maybe I'm missing it. If any of you know when Dewi Sant was built, how's about you give a message on you? Good evening, Dean Beamish. Thanks for joining me. Let's go for a little walk through here. I'm going to come back to that church in a moment, but for the time being, as you can see it in the background, oops, no, it's locked. Let me just turn this on to here. That there is a fine bit of metalwork and a nice walkway to what used to be Ebenezer, or as we knew it yet, the Bethesda Chapel, built in 1999. Now I don't know if my mic is better this evening. Good evening, Martin. Marie, Lisa, thanks for joining me. Just turn this back this way a little bit. So, what I want to talk about tonight, well, I tell you what, it's a perfect night. Normally, I take you on a walk on a Sunday. Well, Sunday, one of the biggest things that we know about Sunday would be religion, God. The man upstairs, as they call him. Good evening, Teresa, thanks for joining me. Melanie, Mark, Barbara. Now, in any community, on a Sunday, regardless of what day of the week it is, we all need a little something to believe in. Now, whether that's built in 1999, possibly taken down in 1999, am I right? I think so. Kat, good evening. Right, where was I? So, Ebenezer behind me, gone now, taken down in 99, built in, I can get you the exact date here, I believe, let me see, I think it was built somewhere around, I have no idea, it was, yes I do, 1892, there you go, there's my facts for you. Yeah, Mark, yeah. Good evening, Jem. So, Ebenezer behind me, taken down in 1999, and in front of me we have Dewi Sant, still going strong. So Dewi Sant, according to Lisa, was built in 1926. Could be. It looks fairly newish. So yeah. So every community, I think, needs something they can sort of hang their hope on, or, you know, something we can believe in. We all need a faith of some kind. That might be God, Allah, Buddha. You know, your thing might be Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, whatever that might be, whatever it is. I'll tell you what. My God is the gods of photography. Huw will know this. Sure, Ansbach slated that, possibly. It's a good job, Ansbach, if it was yours, fair play to you. Yeah, I can see a lot of naughty boys putting faith into a different kind of place down here, but I'll turn the camera on that in a moment. Or the Church of Tumble Workies, as Mark Tucker said. Yes, there's a few in the Church of Tumble Workies right now. Stone from Ebenezer in your father's garden, says Pamela Hughes. Yes, it is. In Ebenezer, if we go back around the side here, just have a little peep. Now there's the Church of the Workmen's Club. See, they're off already. It's not safe. So in the night, that's lit up like a beacon. Now, like I said, if I turn the camera on here, not everybody worships the church. Some people worship clubs, Some people worship cinemas, martial arts is their thing, spiritualism of some kind, sport, athletics maybe, video games. You know, I remember many of the people that I hung around with or sort of lived around, or many family members. I remember I was told Henleys the farm from Volgasteth, my wife's grandfather, said he'd rather put windows in the Smith's Arms than he would any church. I can probably, you know, say the same thing that many of the people I've associated with in my time would say the same thing, I believe. Good evening, Margaret. The Farchnad Fach opened 2nd of June 99. Yes, it did. Yeah, so coming back to Ebenezer, my father has a stone from the windowsill there in his garden as a seat and a monument to a church or chapel that he never went to. His church was that building I was just showing you there, which is the Great Mountain Workingmen's Club. So, faith, like I said, my God is the gods of photography. Quoted there by Huw Alden, a good friend. And my church would be probably creativism, not creationalism, but creativism. That would be my religion, possibly. Making stuff, making photographs, making videos, talking here. So, your Dewi Sant there, built in 19 something or other, 26, am I right? Yeah, the naughty boys have gone in, we're safe. Good evening, Lewis. So there was nine churches here at one time. We're now down to 5, I think, and we can have a look at a couple of them in a moment. But faith and our hope doesn't always rely on sort of religion. Sometimes faith and hope can be in the things that we do, and especially in community where we put our whole heart and soul into things. So I'm going to go to a little place to talk to someone who knows Tumble quite a bit and has lived here for many years, and many of you will remember her as Erica. Tynton shoe shop. And we're going to have a little chat with her about sort of running her business over the time, and we'll speak to Sharon as well, who runs Henleys at the moment in the same premises. So who's with me? Stepdo, yeah, Stepdo, Simon Owen, Shemai Bai. We're all tuning in here, good stuff. Do me a favour, hit the share button. Let's get this, let's get people tuning in, shall we? So what's your thing? What's your bag? Maybe don't answer that. Or do. So I'm going to go for a little walk, you know, down to the old Tynton shoe shop, where most of you will remember going through that door and sinking into a carpet about 10 feet thick, fluffy carpet, and having your shoes measured. Do you remember them, as I've mentioned before, the Velcro straps? Who's with me? Daniel Young, Sharon, son Andrew and partner are watching. Great stuff. Thanks for tuning in. Simon Owen, can't believe you didn't come and see me. I just did come to see you, but you'd left, and you know you did. I'm coming back to see you in a moment, just to trip you up, I think. So let's have a look here. If we have a look at the Henleys as it is now, which is a fine deco, I would say. So if we go in here and have a little look-see.
Hello.
Well, hello. Good evening. How are we?
I think you should be on television.
Oh, yeah,
I think you should be.
Well, maybe we'll do something.
They
Yeah.
need your job good at Tumble.
I don't think Tinopolis needs me.
Oh, well, you never know now. They're looking for people that perhaps you're too good for that.
I'm gonna I'll tell you what,
I saw you up in the chapel.
Did you?
The old
Oh yes,
the ruins of the
which
chapel.
is now
And
gone.
then is
Yeah.
that.
It's a shame, isn't it? It was a wonderful building.
But it was, nobody went there now, you see. It's been down now for over 20 years, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, there we are,
About
20 years this year. So that's,
That's a long time.
yeah.
Because, you know, they didn't have members anymore, and they had to really pull it down. The council decided to pull it down because they were smashing windows, boys and girls, you know. If the building is empty, you go in and find
And it is a
people.
waste as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Turning.
We've got a few people tuning in to have a chat with us here. So I've got Marie Weatherston.
What is this then?
So what is this show?
Yes.
It's an interactive,
Yeah.
live documentary series. So it's one that you can access on Facebook, and it continues to work as it does, and it's something that can sort of document the village, and everybody else can be involved in it as well. So it's collaborative.
Oh, you've done well, Huw.
Well, thank you very much.
Compile the history and how things are changing in the village.
That's quite true.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, a place that stays the same will never survive. So you have to change, things to change over, don't you?
Yeah, well, you'd think so, anyway.
Um,
No, there's no turning this off now, Erica.
no,
there's no going back.
back.
There's no going back. All I'm going to do, I'm going to read some messages. Hang on. Say hello to Tommy Pigeons. He's watching you in his Auntie Blood's house. Well, good evening, Tommy. Great to see you. Oh, to see us. So, right, there's not much space here, but I'm going to turn this round and probably, once I can work this properly. So I'm going to say good evening to Sharon.
How are you?
Who now runs Henleys in the old Tynton. And this year is Erica, who used to run Tynton. Back then, it was a shoe shop for the village. It was one of 2 shoe shops as well. Or was there any more that we don't know of, Erica?
No, I don't think so. There were only 2. There's still one, yeah? Still one in the village.
Marie's asking us now, she'll have a ham and cheese baguette, please, Sharon.
Of course, it'll be ready tomorrow morning, I promise. That's clear.
So, what does it feel like to sort of, well, in this situation, what does it feel like to be, I'm sure you guys are familiar with each other, you've spoken. Did you buy the business from Erica? No?
My partner bought the building and rented it out. We've done a lot of work here, separating it into 2 flats and stuff. And there was a barber here previously, and when he left, decided to take it. It's such a lovely community here, and obviously being backwards and forwards, because I live in Carway, for a few years, all the people I've met are so wonderful. It just seemed the right place to be.
Do you normally stay open on a Sunday?
Usually on Sunday I am,
Yeah.
and now and again I have to be nice to myself and have a day off.
Aye.
And today is one of them.
Can you say that you used to have a Sunday off, Erica? You wouldn't have had the shoe shop open on a Sunday.
No, we weren't open on a Sunday. There wasn't a card for it. It was on a Sunday here. People, if they needed anything, then shoes, they'd go to town probably.
I did, well, things have changed quite a bit, I imagine. What's nice is to have a cafe back in Tumble where you can actually spend your time on a Sunday. When we were kids, we didn't have anything open on a Sunday, and that was one of the worst parts of living in this community, I think, or any community back in the 80s possibly. I've got Gary wrote down here, Henleys, best cakes and coffee anywhere. There you go.
That's
That's an advert in itself, isn't it?
Thank you so much.
So yeah, I think if we consider, do you know, when you think back to Tynton, for instance, which is strange coming back in, you know, if we have a look around the cafe itself, you might have customers now, Sharon. So to think of Tynton being in here at the time, it's very strange now.
You wouldn't believe it's the same place to
No. Can you tell us where that carpet went, Erica? That carpet, when we came into the door, you'd step into it and you'd disappear into it, especially when we were about 5 or 6.
Yeah, you're the people that bought the place after I did would probably know better than I. So this is about, this third or fourth thing that's been in the shop. But it's good that it's not empty. It's good that there's something going on in the village. I don't think there's one empty shop here, really, is there?
No.
There's something in every
Yes, and that's good. Yeah, and
It's good.
Yeah, I think so.
Isn't it?
It takes a life, doesn't
Yes.
it?
is there anything you think that the community is missing, would you say? Could it do with?
I tell you what, I do feel that the village has changed a lot. There used to be more Welsh speaking here.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I would love to see you having more bilingual
Yes,
centre.
it's in
Because that would keep the Welsh community alive. You know, we're very fortunate. People do speak Welsh, but unfortunately, a lot of the children like to speak English to each other. Even brothers. I don't know about you now. Beth ti'n siarad y Glyndwr?
Dou iaith. So rydw i'n siarad Cymraeg a Saesneg yn frawd.
But we've got schools which are bilingual, and the primary school is whole English.
Yeah.
And my Gwendraeth is as well. And I was in the first meeting to have my Gwendraeth as it was, as my Ylfa then, to have the Welsh schools there. And I'm glad to say that my son went there, and my 3 grandchildren, and your children are there too. And we're very fortunate to have the school. But they have all their lessons in Welsh, but unfortunately they do enjoy speaking English, which I it is to be commended, and they are good in both languages. But unless the Welsh language is being spoken in the villages with us, unfortunately it's going to die, isn't it? In years to come, unless we keep it going.
Well, they say that the Welsh language is now on the rise. It's now spoken more than it's ever been spoken. Spoken.
There are more Welsh schools.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean to say that there are more Welsh
No,
schools.
you're right. You're right.
Because the older people are dying off, and it's the Welsh language needs to have a boost. We want 1 million people speaking Welsh by 2020, is it?
Well, quite possibly, yes.
Yes.
Would you say that most of your customers back in, say, the 80s and 90s possibly were predominantly Welsh speaking?
Definitely. Because I can go now without speaking English for weeks maybe. But at the time, rarely did I have to speak English in the shop at all. But everybody was welcome, and we are a village that's welcoming people. Look, we've got Chinese people here. They've been here for over 20 years and more. We've got a nice Indian, Punjabi people in Tumble stores. We've got Turkish people next door here, and there's a chip shop. We are a community, and primary school is full of children of several different nationalities, and let's hope that we all live together, and that we all appreciate it, that we are living in Wales, and that the Welsh language is very important as well.
So maybe we can influence everybody to start speaking Welsh.
Yes, ti'n gallu siarad Cymraeg, siaradwr Cymraeg.
Da iawn.
Mae'n bwysig I gadw'r iaith.
Yes, odi. Can you speak any Welsh, Sharon?
That's our identity.
I understand a lot, but I don't feel brave enough or confident enough to speak it.
But it doesn't matter, just as long as you know that the Welsh language is alive.
Oh,
isn't
definitely.
it? But a lot of people coming to live in this community don't realise that their children will be taught in Welsh-speaking schools. and that
I think that can be a bit problematic.
The estate agents need to say this when people are moving in. Otherwise, they'll have to go to Henleys or Carmarthen to have their education in English only. But it's great to see a little Indian boy speaking Welsh, the same as us in Tumble Primary School.
Yeah.
We've got Filipinos now who speak Welsh as if they've been brought up here. And it's excellent to see them. Polish, loads of Polish.
Brilliant. So it's quite a multinational community.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, talking about sort of Tynton, for instance, and both Henleys, so it's kind of a question to both of you, really. So when you started this business, did you have faith that it was going to work, for instance? When did you start Tynton's shoe shop?
Well, Tynton was a shoe shop before that, you see. It was a shoe shop for about 35 years and more before I came.
So it was a business that was tried and tested. So you had faith that it was going to...
Yes, and I carried on the same as they did for many years. I altered a bit to the shop afterwards, but mostly, you know, you had families coming here. I served the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren of people who had been brought up on Tynton shoes, on Clark's shoes and whatever else there was here.
You're right there, actually. I've had so many customers in. I remember you in the shop and I have very fond memories. Whole generations of them coming in. So yeah, they do say it's a bit of a change.
So how did you feel? Yeah, you've started this business yourself, you know, Sharon. When did you start? Did you say?
It's about 4 months ago now. It's gone by in a flash. It really has.
No, you do have to have a lot of sort of time, and you have to pour your heart and soul into this kind of business. Did you have faith that this was going to work?
I had no idea. You just never know. Not coming from Tumble myself, and obviously just coming from outside of Tumble, and not knowing that many people initially. I've been very privileged, actually. The people around here are amazing.
So they have sort of welcomed this, and I think...
And me,
yeah.
They really have.
There's I did have a question in mind there. Hang on, before I do say anything. Liz Murphy, my German great-grandmother bought my sister's first shoes for school, and then my grandmother, sorry, I can't read this well enough. Grandmother and mother bought shoes for us all there. So it goes to show. So what year do you think this place opened then? Was the shoe shop the first?
This building was built in 1917, and at the very beginning they had a jeweler shop, and also they sold canaries for the coal mine. Because the canaries. Canaries.
Wow.
Birds. Do you know they used to go down to the mines and obviously test them if there was a lot of gases?
Yeah.
And they sold the canaries. Yeah.
I've heard that story, but I didn't know it was this shop.
Yeah, and then of course the Lewises brought it over. They had their home in Tynton Farm, which is in Upper Tumble.
Yes, yeah.
And that's why they called the shop Tynton. They started selling boots because there was a shoemaker, and Lewis, he was a Lewis, and he was also a deacon in Bethesda Chapel, and he started selling boots and shoes and repair work, and then Clark's shoes started coming in, and they had that agency, and you know, obviously selling for children, and then all the way up to parents. And what was good at the time was they started a shoe club because people were quite poor then, and the wages in the mines wasn't very good. Yeah. So people paid a couple of pences or even 50 pence a week maybe into a club so that they could get their shoes then once they had enough money in. And that's how a lot of people kept the business going as well. It was good cash flow for the business, and I kept going.
I remember a book when we were kids.
Yes.
That you would pay sort of so much into buying the shoes.
Yes. Even people, you know, as years had gone by, they had good jobs. That was a way of saving, wasn't it? You know?
Yeah. That was a good idea.
Yes.
And you carried that on when you took over.
Yes, of course it did. And we went around collecting them
Wow.
through the villages, yeah.
I'm not sure that will work today, although it...
Does.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, maybe you could do that, Sharon. I'll come in and have dinner tomorrow, and I'll pay for it over there.
Pay in first, then have it after.
That's the way.
Not everybody was as honest as that. Most people were good.
Yeah. We're very fortunate, really. Yes.
I'm sure you'll have customers coming back and forth all the time as well.
I've got
Because you like
regulars
people
that-
also, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, you've got social. You're a social person, and with that, people will enjoy coming here.
Oh, thank you. That's nice to know.
Let me see if I have prepared a couple of questions, and I think I've asked most of them. Kind of the demand, as I was saying earlier, for sort of a cafe in Tumble. I think, what would be your best selling point?
Wow, I don't know. I'd like to think it's just so people can just come and sit and have something really nice to eat and fresh, and chill out. There's no time limit. No just a rush. You know, I just want them to be.
That's lovely.
Completely at ease in here.
I notice you have like chairs and tables out in the day so everybody can watch the traffic going by. We are a nosy lot in Tumble. Is that right, Erica?
Yeah, nearly gone out.
Yeah, we like to know what's going on.
So we're very nosy. That's true.
I don't think that's ever going to change.
No, that's
I think it was always like that.
Yeah, quick here. Put it back in here.
Well, it's been wonderful to call you today. Thank you for having us and showing everybody the inside and getting the two of you in the same room. That's history in the making.
I feel very
That's
privileged.
history. That's history. That is history. Which is good here, is keeping the history, you know, and updating it all the time.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much. Erica's going to show us around Bethesda Chapel in a moment.
Yeah, I'm going to take you down there.
I'm going to go around a few other buildings first and I'll walk down there and I'll meet you down there, Erica. Brilliant. Thank you very much, both.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
See you later. Right. That was wonderful, huh? How nice was that? To have Erica and Sharon in the same room. Past and future. How's that? I'm going to turn this round. Got a couple of scallywags over here. Alright, lads. So we've got Bethel there, the little vestry. Another sort of part of this beauty. Now I have shown this a couple of times, I'm sure. And I went to many a service there. You believe that? I did. I went to a couple of funerals, a couple of weddings here. But what amazes me is that it's like this now. It is for sale for anybody who's interested in. There's the hall beside it. So like I said last week, Peters are selling this. There you are, Peters. I've just given you an advert. That's what you call local camaraderie. So, what can we do with this place? Come on, put your thinking caps on. Maybe this could be a wonderful restaurant, a pub. Don't think we need any more pubs. We've got two amazing clubs. I think that'll do the job nicely. But what can you do with an old chapel like this? And I mean, that's a wonderful sort of building. It's huge. What about a youth centre? Any councillors working out there now? Maybe you don't want to hear this. Maybe you do. And maybe you're thinking of a place. What can we do in that community? What can we do for kids? What can we build here to help children have something to do on their own doorstep? Huh? What do you think? I'm sure people would agree. There could be some kind of centre there. Maybe have a little think about it. Because, like I said in our last episode, that we all need to feel a part of something also. Yeah, we need faith. Yeah, we need hope. But we also need something to do, something to be a part of. Bethel, sorry. I've already forgotten the name of it. Bethel. Bethel Chapel has been sat there for years. It's storing stuff right now. But I'm sure that could go into good use in making people feel a part of the community. Something to do. And something to hang. What used to be a place for faith, now it can be a place for belonging. How does that sound? I like it. Maybe there's some sort of rich brainiacs out there who'd like to help the community or help help others. I'm sure there's plenty of those out there, but are there any interested in Tumble? Yeah, you could have a restaurant there, really. There's no restaurants in the area, as far as I'm aware. Maybe I'm stepping on somebody's toes here. I don't want to be doing that. Are there any restaurants, and where are my messages? Let's see if I can find them here. There you go. Megan Harv says that was Mungivach. Yes, Erica. Sarah Elizabeth Gilroy, good evening. Lisa Lewis, Tumble School Xmas concerts. Now then, yes, I remember the Xmas concerts and the Xmas Christmas. What am I doing? Xmas. I remember that. I remember the concerts in there. What else do we have? I remember where we're going now. I haven't been here since a friend's funeral many moons ago. And I remember standing in the what do you want to call it? Pulpit? Who knows? Standing, having a sing by my lonesome and read a few things out by my lonesome. That was a horrible feeling when you were a kid. Barbara McKee, we used to love going to Bethel to watch people being baptised. Now, I can't say I've ever seen one person baptised. I would have loved to have seen that. That's an interesting. I've seen it on TV, but I've never seen it in person. Maybe many of you have. Community hub. I like your thinking, Lisa. We need community hubs. They've already got a community hub being built, I believe, as part of the park. Am I right in saying this? Good evening, Claire, Chris, Bugs, Debbie. I'm all fingers and thumbs here today. Give me a second. Right, back to messages. So, I forget what I read. That's me for you, down to the T. So, community hub, yes, that would be amazing. Now, I know the hall do meet in areas, which is great, so they have that kind of thing for people if they need it. We don't have a community hub other than the clubs and the halls, which are great, they're amazing, and they offer what we need. But what other kind of ideas can we put into that place? I mean, it's sitting there. Let's do something with it. Let's not watch it get dilapidated or knocked down, as Ebenezer was, which was a sad thing to see. Maybe we can do something good with it. So who else is with me? Any other ideas? Evening, Claire. Who else have I got here? Let's have a look. John Paul, Chris Rees, Linda Dole, Stuart McPherson. It's quite a busy one tonight. Endav, Carl Necker, Rian Mai, Gwyn Edwards. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's been great to talk to Erica. And we're going to talk to her again in a moment. Let's have a look at this. So, not many chapels left in Tumble functioning. I think this would be one of 3. I believe. I may be wrong. It could be just 2. And it possibly is 2. Off the top of my head, you have 2 chapels and 3 churches and a few vestries, if I'm not mistaken. Brilliant. Yeah, so there you have it. Look at that. They got a lot of common sort of features, but as one of my friends, Paul Carbett says, who photographs these beautiful structures, he says no one is exactly the same, and that I kind of believe. So hopefully Paul Carbett is looking in today. Have you been to photograph this, Paul? Come down and have a look. But yes, I do remember. Does anybody remember? Here's one place of faith for you. Now, right here, as I mentioned last week or week before, was the job centre. Now that was a place of faith for you. Or lack of faith, possibly. Now, Bethesda Chapel that we're looking at here is it has a little sort of vestry over in Bethesda Road, and maybe if we get time we'll have a look at that. Because there's a lot of stories that surround these places and a lot of memories. Good evening, Mayrig. Nice to see you on here. Turn round. Now then, let's have a look at this. Now, looking back at Bethesda, now this is Bethesda, and I think it was I think it was Bethel. So Bethel, Reverend Williams, for instance. Now I was just reading this week that Reverend Williams was highly respected in his community and forged his community and made it what it was, I believe. And I was reading an article that he was saying about a writer back in the 1800s said that the scum of the earth lived in Tumble, and Mr. Williams corrected him in the press, saying that if any scum existed in Tumble, it left with that very writer. And I like that. What do you think, Erica? I was just saying, Reverend Williams was once told that the scum of the earth lived in Tumble.
Oh, was Reverend Williams? He probably was the minister in Bethel then.
Yes, he was, yes. Yeah. Which I was going to mention while I was up there, but I've come down here without doing so.
Yes. And what do I think of that? We've got the people with the salt of the earth here.
Yes, you're right. Very much so.
Yes.
And I can't agree with you anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So this is Bethesda then, Erica?
Yeah, this is Bethesda Chapel, an independent chapel.
So what is your role here?
Well, I am a deacon here,
Yes.
and I help as much as I can.
And I do. I
And
think you
welcome
do a lot
people
of
like
that.
yourself, and I'm welcoming people like yourself into our midst.
Brilliant. I love it. Without you, this would not be happening, Erica.
Oh gosh, do you like? Yeah, some nice times here. Huw.
There are. How old are they then?
No, they must be the same age as the chapel. Now, I have to check on this now, Huw.
Good. We need a bit of history on the date. Now then.
1905.
Is it 19? Oh yes, you can only just make it out there. So that
1905.
it's pretty old then.
Well, yes. Do you know the chapel was built because the vestry that you've been to previously was the small chapel, but so many people were coming. You see, they had to build a bigger chapel.
Ah, right. Is that the
so
case?
one of the members.
Well, the other one was built in 1888.
Yes.
I read.
Yes.
So this was because it became quite a.
Yes, because more people were coming all the time, and the religious revival in 1905. Evan Roberts started the revival, and so many more people wanted to go to chapels, you see, and listen to the orators and the big preachers of the time. So that's why we needed a bigger chapel.
Yeah, well.
I wasn't there obviously then.
Yeah, that would have been quite some time ago. Well, look at that. It's a beauty of a building.
It is a lot of nice woodwork here.
Now this is how I remember the one Ebenezer to look like in its sort of style, that which had got worse for wear. But I saw a photograph just yesterday of them taking it apart back in 1999.
Yeah, but saying copy out to a bit of board with an Ebenezer, but I'm wondering was it a bit bigger than this? Maybe.
Oh, quite possibly, yes. Yeah.
Bethel was the biggest chapel here, which held more people. The one in the centre of the village. But no,
Yes.
it's ironic really that the bigger chapel of Bethel was sold because not so many people were going, and they changed the vestry into the chapel.
Wow.
Across the road.
Yeah.
So the vestry is now the chapel, and they've just had.
So it's still functioning. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. They've just had a service there now from 4 till 5 o'clock. And as I came to Henleys, they were leaving, and they've had the minister there now. So usually there are about a dozen people going to chapel there. Obviously you're not going to keep the upkeep of a bigger chapel when you've only got a few people going.
So how many?
So it's been ideal for them to go over.
So if I come down this way a little bit, so there's a little bit more light.
Yeah.
Um,
Shall I go left?
Na, fi'n iawn. So how many members are there of this chapel then, Erica?
With us?
Yeah, yeah. Is it
We're about 150 now.
and that's quite a
If
bit.
that, no, I have to check on that if you want to correct them.
No, well, no,
We're
it's
about that then.
yeah. I think it's
But some people live away, you mind.
yeah,
But they still keep their membership going here.
yeah.
You know, we're less. Occasionally we could be sort of 50 here, but normally it's sort of 30.
What's the age sort of demographic mainly?
Mostly, I would say, majority over 70.
So it's a mature sort of demographic.
Yes.
Would
And
you
then
say
we
that's to
get
do with?
occasionally, we do get sort of people in their 30s here, their 20s, and if the children are taking part, we have a few children go to Sunday school, and if they take part, obviously the parents is going to come as well.
Yeah. Well, you know, the idea of sort of religion and church and chapel is a different construct in this day and age.
Of course it is, yeah.
And it, you know, it has affected the sort of how people sort of deal with it and sort of use these spaces. Do you see this chapel sort of seeing a long time down the road?
Well, we hope so. We have got two buildings, as you know. We have got another building down the road here, which we use as a vestry, and also a big hall. And we do like the community to use our hall as well. We have a coffee morning there every other Thursday morning, and the whole of the community is welcome to come. We in fact encourage it, so that they think that we just do not here on a Sunday, that we are part of the community for the whole week. If somebody wants to come and have a chat, and if we can help somebody in any way, or if we can't help them, put them in the right place to go for help.
Well, do you know what, that's interesting, because I read an article recently that people are lonely, that loneliness is a big problem at the moment, and ideas like that are fantastic, aren't they? You know, that's
what we need to be showing in the community, that we are a working church, rather than just coming to on Sunday, going home and forgetting about other people. We need to encourage this amongst the community to come to us if we can help them in any way. Not always sort of, you know, pushing religion down their throats, but being people that will help them along the way.
Yeah, it's an idea of community, isn't it? And
then
being a society.
We have meetings down in the winter months. We have speakers coming along, and we all sort of learn something new from speakers who come along, not always sort of religious or lectures, but interesting lectures that we can all help with, and that's open to the community as well. Also, we have the Mynydd Mawr choir, who use our hall as their practicing place, and that's their base, our hall. And Tumble School usually uses our
yes, always has done, hasn't it?
hall as well.
Yeah.
Yes, for their Christmas pageants and concerts and shows.
Well,
You know, anybody, we're happy to have people coming along, so that places are being used.
yes, and these places definitely need to be used.
Of course
I think the thing is, it's difficult to sort of appeal to a younger generation with this. It's hardly rock and roll, I would say.
But, you know, obviously times have changed, as you say, and we are experiencing that when the older generation pass away, that now we haven't got new members coming along, or very few.
Yes, I think there's a lot of initiatives, I think, that could be thought of to bring these places back into use in that sense, and make sure that they do for many years to come. And I mean, it's important that it's part of the schooling system as well.
You know, the church is this is only a building, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, it's the people that make the chapel and the close to that, the church.
Is there any particular features that you're you're fond of, Erica?
In the chapel?
Yes.
Well, we've spent a lot of money on the organ in the last couple of years, which needed doing, and it's got a good, nice sound to it. And the organ, I think, makes the service as well.
Yes.
Occasionally we use the piano also, but the singing and the hymns tune into an organ better maybe than the piano. we sing a bit better with the organ going.
Do they sing in Welsh here?
Oh yeah, dim ond Cymraeg.
Yeah, dim ond Cymraeg.
Yeah, wel ni gallu cael
Yeah.
Saesneg.
Yeah.
A mae'r llyfrau yn mynd ni gyd yn Gymraeg.
O, dyn nhw?
Ydyn, dyma.
Wel, gallwn ni gael
Mewn yn y llyfrau, mae peth Saesneg mewn yn y llyfrau.
Gallwn ni gael gan ar doi yn ni, yn canu. Hymba. There's not much of a singing voice behind this face. Hang on. Yeah. Sy'n lot o gobeith y fi.
Caneuon ffydd yw'r llyfr sy'n nawr yn cael ei ganu trwy Cymru gyfan. Ie, hwn yw'r llyfr y mynnau mwyaf newydd nawr.
Efe? So those are the new hymns.
Wel, maen nhw mas o'r blynydde nawr.
Well, yeah, when we say new hymns, what do you...
Dyw'r y mynnau ddim yn newydd, ond hwn yw'r llyfr y mynnau newydd.
Yeah.
The new hymn book.
So it's like the top 40 of the hymns.
This is in the churches and the chapels all over Wales.
Wow.
So, yeah. And when you think about it now, what do the rugby people like to sing? Calon Lan.
Calon Lan. Yeah.
Nid dwi'n gofyn bywyd moethus, a'r y byd a'i berlau mawr. Gofyn hwyr am galon hapus, calon onest, calon lan.
Calon Lan yn llawn deuoni.
Pawb yn gwybod na, pawb yn gwybod na.
Brilliant. Well, I'll tell you what, I fancy having a good stand at this because, let me do the maths here now, Erica. I was 10 years old, that goes back 30 years. 30 years. And no comments, please, on age. Yes, I'm 40 now. Yeah, 41 this year, Erica. No. Do you remember that I had big feet back then? Well, I stood right here, this very spot. I can see it now looking out on everyone there. Yeah, you're shaking like a leaf. It was a bit like this. And I can't remember what the piece was, but I remember having to talk out in front of everybody. And I'd memorised this thing, and I never memorise anything. I'm surprised I don't know it to this day.
Well, you can speak. Well, that's why probably you're able to speak now to an audience, because you can't go to
Maybe, yes. See, and that's where it starts, in the chapel. Yes.
This is where it starts. And this is what gives confidence to people so that they are able to speak.
Yeah, possibly. You might be right there. Yeah. I'm not sure I had the confidence for many years, mind.
Oh, but we're doing well.
So, look, this is it. We're back in the spot. I even had to sing once here, Erica, on my toddy. And it was Aled Jones is Walking in the Air. Anybody out there remember that? By myself. Get the old voice going. Yeah. I could do it now, mind, but I'm lack of training. Lack of practice. John Paul Richards. Does Erica remember where my grandparents used to sit? Where did they?
John Paul Manada.
Oh dear.
Well, John Paul, ti'n dod i'r ysgol Silfed,
Yeah.
O John Paul yn oed yn y rhys. Ble o'n nhw'n eistedd.
You've posed the question now, John Paul.
Yeah.
So we're going to find out where your grandparents used to sit. Do you remember, John? Is this a test?
This is the test.
Good evening, Jonathan Williams. That's where they used to sit. So right at the back there, hiding, that was, Erica. Do you think? Yeah. So I'm just going to get a feel for this. I'm going right up to the top now. This is where the old preacher, what did you call it? Pregethwr, in Gwenny Dog. Na, do.
Gwendraeth.
Yeah.
Oedd yn actor Denzil yn pobl o...
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, Denzil. There you go. There's another bit from our childhood. Denzil from Pobl y Cwm is now, what's that in...
Gwendraeth.
Is that a preacher?
Yeah,
He's the preacher.
He's the women minister.
Yeah, wow.
He's the women minister.
Now, there you go.
For the last 2 years, when he finished in Pobl y Cwm, and he has 3 chapels, he has Capel Seion, Nazareth, Barros-Pearera, and we're very fortunate to have him as a minister here in Bethesda as well.
Yes, I would say so.
Yes.
And he's passionate about his position here as a...
Yes, and he's excellent.
Yes. So, look at that.
That's why I wanted you to come to our service this afternoon.
Yes,
You
I-
could have met him then.
That would have
and
been...
knew what goes on here.
Maybe I'll come down another week
Yes.
when I'm a little more free.
This is the only Sunday I was free to come with you as well.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's worked out.
Not here.
So, are you happy with that, John Paul? You would do a good preacher, Huw. You got the beard to go with it. Hang on now. So, is this a preacher beard, John Paul? I don't know. I wouldn't mind having a go on that organ, mind you. Colin Jones says, my grandmother was a faithful member in Bethesda. Lisa Marie Aitken. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Lisa Mary Aitken, sorry.
Mae Ian Aitken. Dim mae Ian Aitken oedd i'r gilydd. Mae Ian yn dal i bod yn aelod yn ei fan hyn.
Possibly, yeah. Who with her husband Alec, who kept the Cwmawr Club. Did they now? That's interesting.
All right, okay.
What year was this then, Colin? I'd like to know that. And what year do they keep the Cwmawr Club? Because that's also another telltale sign for me and what I'm doing. Yeah. And again, that's another faith of all sorts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really funny, really, when you say that the chapels have got less members and the clubs have got less members as well. And not so many people going to
Yeah,
the
so-
pubs. As
No,
well.
that tells you something.
No, what is happening?
That's a very interesting question. I'll tell you what's happening. The digital revolution and all these games and Xboxes and all those kind of things.
And people buying beer and having
Yes.
being isolated at home.
And-
when people used to go and enjoy having a chat in the clubs or in a pub and catching up on news, the men used to enjoy coming together and discussing.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think religion was out of it at the time, wasn't it? And politics. 'Cause that's
It's still causing a lot of aggro, especially now. Yeah, we won't get into that, I don't think.
No.
But no, you're right in what you're saying.
Fel mae'r capelydd yn y llai o aelodau,
Yeah.
llai yn mynychu, mae'r aelodau yn ddigon uchel, ond llai yn dod, ond mae llai yn mynd i'r, what do you find o tyfyrnau sydd wedi cael
Yeah.
yn ardal ni?
Yeah. Yeah.
No
So-
one in the Croissants Hotel, no one down in Cwmawr,
Yeah.
in the Gwendraeth Arms, you know, the Greyhound is closed in Llannon.
Yeah.
See, unless people go in, people are not as sociable, not sociable is the word really. They keep to themselves in their homes and they don't think of others as people used to years ago.
Yeah, you're right. I think you've hit a few points there, Erica, that are really important. Thank you very much. Well, Colin saying there, yes, Ian Aitken is my uncle.
Oh, your uncle, right?
Yeah, they were in Cwmawr Club in the 1950s.
Ah,
Yeah, that would have been... Now then, Peter, my grandfather, was in that club, and his father for quite a few years, and that was around the 50s.
Clwbach.
Yeah, Clwbach. Is that right? Clwbach?
Yeah,
Cwmawr?
Clwbach and Canada.
Yeah, I forget my great-grandfather's name. But yeah, that's for another time. Maybe we can have a chat about this, Colin. Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, thank you very much for spending some time with us tonight, Erica. It's been lovely to talk with you. I'm going to leave you go about your day, the rest of it.
Yeah.
And
Really nice up there now.
yeah, and we'll chat soon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr. I'm going to go for a little walk now down the vestry and then... so... O di. Ie, a maen nhw gallu siarad da ni wedyn a gadael fel comments arno fe. So, gallu ddysgwyl arno hwn mas law. Na, fe ddim. Na?
siarad y symo'n gweld yn un o'n y siarad.
Mae rhaid ti. You can watch this later on, Erica. I insist. Megan will be showing you. Mae'n gwybod popeth, Jal. Mae pawb yn gwybod popeth. Everybody knows everything in Tumble, Erica. O, dwi? O, na joio, dyna fe. When in Rome. Yeah. Diolch, ta-da. So there you have it. That's Bethesda Church. So thanks for joining me tonight, everybody. I have no idea what time it is. It must be about 10 past by now. Shwmai David, Odette, Pearl, or Mam as I should say. Not everybody knows that. Let's have a look. Have I missed any messages here? Yes, many by the looks of it. Teresa Hughes, he's always up to something. In relation to what? Are you talking about Hughesy, who's always up to something? Possibly. Am I correct in saying that Andrew's put a bid in for the chapel? That's Richard Gwendraeth, who I was telling you last week about his video story. Or maybe I didn't tell you the story, I'm not sure. So, there you have it. Communities, pubs, clubs, all houses of some kind of faith, I suppose. A place where we get to get together, something to believe in together, something we can hope in, and all dwindling. Less people are now calling in these places, and as Erica said, everybody sort of buys cheaper, couple of cans, sit in the house, watch TV, just chill out, can't be bothered with the fuss of going out. Again, we're not doing any favours for ourselves, really, are we? When we're staying inside and not... I don't think everybody sort of stays out of it. And I'm sure people are still sort of, getting together. But not in the context that we were at one time. Well, hang on. Look, my Uncle Tommy's here now. Good evening, Tommy.
How are you, Huw?
I should my...
I've seen
Where are we going on this fine evening?
you been to chapel.
Oh yes, I've been to chapel. It doesn't happen very often, Tommy. I tell you what, this is what I wanted to do with you a few weeks ago.
Yes, but I didn't see you. Huw.
No,
Did you come back?
I thought you were busy. I didn't want to bother you.
That's why I saw this opportunity. That's right, I'm catching Tommy up now.
Well, I'm going to be calling with you again, and you can tell me about your wonderful pigeon coops for a start.
They're too old now, they're dear.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you been to church this evening, Tommy?
Yeah, no, I haven't, I'm afraid.
No?
No.
Church of Blood.
A Church of Blood.
I don't just see anti-blood.
That's the way.
Aye.
But thank you for stopping and seeing us anyway.
Boy, bit of stuff,
Yeah.
Today, somewhere.
I'm going down to see the little vestry down here before I finish up.
What vestry is yours? What is
Yeah,
it?
yeah, it's right there,
Yes, yeah.
on the side there.
Yeah.
But thanks for stopping to see us, Tommy.
Hello, Huw.
Diolch yn fawr.
Behave yourself.
Yes. Well, I've had some lovely, wonderful people from Tumble on here tonight, haven't I? I think I'd say I'm pretty fortunate, capturing all the characters. So, let's have a look. This is what I wanted to turn my attention to, last of all, for one last peep at something this evening. No, we couldn't do this. You can't look at any community without looking at sort of religion or the things that started our communities back in 1800s, possibly even further back. I've been told that Tumble is over 400 years old, but I would say that's probably the farms itself. Now, religion, I don't think there's many churches or chapels in these areas that are anything earlier than 1800 and something or other. So 1888 this was made, and then rebuilt in 1961. So this was the chapel. This was Bethesda Chapel before it became a vestry. And that monster of a thing, that huge building, which is beautiful, is now the main chapel. One of 2 surviving chapels, I believe, in the whole community here in Tumble. Many more beyond this perimeter, obviously. And there's a couple of vestries left. But it's, like Erica said, it's a sign of the times. Now, I used to go around that building, I have to point out. I used to go around the back, and we all used to sort of climb into the factory, as I pointed out a few weeks ago, down there behind that hedge. And behind you, we used to run around. We didn't know much about the place back then, but I remember my Jack and Ethel singing in there. If any of you remember this, I'm sure if Peter Finnemore popped in now, he'd remember this. Roof that, says Ants Bach. I don't doubt it, Ants. Excellent roofer, if anybody needs a roofer. Jason Dap Addison, Ysgol Dydd Sul Huw. Now then, there's a thing. You right, Sean? Jason, who else have I got on here? John Paul, Tommy Pigeons. Awesome fella. Yes. Now then, what you just told me there, Jason, was a Ysgol Sul. Now, every Sunday we went to Ysgol Sul. We would, I say that, okay, I'm probably a little bit older. I was probably about 9, 10 when I started going to Ysgol Sul. And we used to go there because a couple of friends were much older and they used to go there. And you could play the drums there. And you get a cup of tea and jaffa cakes. And so it was brilliant. And we learned about the Bible, which, okay, was brilliant back then when we were kids. It was something to do, I think. And it kept us out of mischief. And that's what it's about, isn't it? But does anybody else remember on you having to put on your bests? Now, I was talking about this just recently. When we were kids, you didn't just get into your football kit or your pyjamas. That's wrong. You didn't just get into your pyjamas or your whatever, ruffs, and, slap a pair of jeans on and a t-shirt. On a Sunday, good boy, you put on your bests, your Sunday bests, and you went to church with them. But the same rule applied for going to town. Now, how many of you remember this? We were glad to get rid of you for hours of peace. Yeah, I can imagine that's true, Barbara. No, I do. Somebody needs to cut this hedge. People aren't busy enough. They need to cut that hedge. Do you need me to point it out? I don't think so. Yeah, on a Sunday, I'm going to show you exactly now where we used to walk up. Now, some were fortunate to have a lift, weren't they? Were you one of them, Sharon? Barbara just used to load the kids into the bus and send them off to Elim or Carmel, possibly. Ansbach, I think Ansbach used to go to Carmel, or was it Elim? One of the two. They didn't put him on the bus, so he couldn't behave. Neither could John Paul. Just joking. They were well-behaved children. Let me show you now then. No, this is the way we went to school every morning. So when I was showing you Tumble Primary just a few weeks ago, this is how we used to come up here. That wall hasn't changed. Nothing has changed about this area since the 70s, I would say. I remember starting school in 1982, I believe. It hasn't changed since then, other than that bike stopper. Well, not bike stopper, stop people with motorbikes coming up here. That probably is a bike stopper and all. No. While we're on this subject, no, I don't want to miss out. That's where the preacher used to live. I believe. The Pregethwr. possibly. Lisa, minibus to Elim. Yes, I believe that would have been the case. Now, everybody used to have a minibus to Elim. Now, those trees have been there since long before we were born. In between here, in between these two trees, we would have a school picture taken. Barbara McKee says yes to Carmel. Here we loaded the kids into Ray's bakery van. If they could find a crust of bread, it was a bonus. No, it was probably a good idea back then anyway. I would like to argue with you. If I could do the same thing now, I'd probably do it. My kids would probably put up a fight. The school field was given as a gift from the people who originally lived in the house next to Bethesda Church. Fact, says Sharon James. Is that fact? I remember hearing this many years ago, so you're probably right. I'm going to take that as a fact, and please, if you find out otherwise, let me know. But I want to say something. Now, do you remember, now anybody that was in school with me, I was the fastest runner in my class. What do they call that? I'll get back to you on that. I think they call it lies, possibly. Anyway, Dwayne Peel would be running there, Stuart Lewis, and they were the fastest things on two legs as far as I'm concerned. But I was a little bit faster than them because I didn't bother running. Now, to me, I didn't want to compete, so I'd say I was the fastest. I was the fastest one not to get involved. But yeah, so still one of the fastest things I remember ever seeing was Dwayne Peel running that pitch. Now then, I still remember running down school. Let me just point out, can you remember running as fast as you could down there, or pole vaulting on your legs and just leaving the ground? I just remember that really strongly. Depends who was chasing you, John Paul Richard says. Not many boys in your class, Huw, says Barbara McKee. Now then, this is false fact again. There were many boys in my class, mostly boys, 2 girls, and all boys. So that is false fact again, Barbara. Do you know Donald Trump's coming to mind now, and his true alternative truths, possibly. Donald Trump. Anyway, why did that come into it? Let's just see. We used to run up and down there, and as we got to the gate, right here, the day was over until you came out of that gate back then. But anyway, I remember walking up this lane in the probably end of the 80s and wearing what I can only describe as colour speckled black trousers. Does anybody remember this fashion in the 80s? People would wear suits, black trousers, wearing those little coloured bits in them. Does anybody remember that? This sticks in my head. I had a pair of these trousers and what I thought then were Michael Jackson's shoes, so I was quite happy to wear them. Moonwalking myself to the church of Carmel, where we then played drums with Lee Rumbelow. Remember that, Lee? Jason Addison, the building to your left was mine and Michael Williams' boxing ring. What is it? This thing? This thing here? Elaborate. Let us know a bit more. Lots of bees living in there, apparently. So, coming full circle now, I think, in terms of location. But Addison, yes, that's interesting. I would like to learn a little bit more about your boxing sort of efforts over the years in terms of your buildings, the clubs that you held. Maybe we could have a chat one day. That would be nice. Because I remember you boxing and winning a few belts even when we were kids. Let's have a look. I still like that, John Paul. Depends who was chasing you. I'd run fast if somebody was chasing me, I can tell you, but I just didn't have much of an inclination for the old sports day. Still don't. Now, we've managed to keep going for some reason, but I just wanted to show you, this is where Carmel is. So it's now 100 years old. If that I'm not sure that building is 100 years old, that looks pretty modern to me. But in the 1980s, that's where we used to go, and that's where everybody used to jump in a bus and get dropped off. Or the one further down, yes, I remember. I see where you're coming from now, sorry, I was a bit slow there, Jason. The building was a bus shelter or a bike shelter at one time, and that was your boxing ring, okay. People would have on nhw'n clatio mewn yn a boxing ring fyna. So, yeah, there you have it. Carmel, 100 years. They have a service on there right now, it looks pretty busy. So it's strange that we've come back to this point after, yes, last Sunday, I suppose. Harbs, good evening Harbs. Best time to tune in, my friend, when we're leaving. You're tuning in when I'm tuning out. How's it going, buddy? I'm glad to see you're on here. Maybe go back a bit in this episode and see what you can find. Maybe something of interest. Let me just see that I haven't missed anything I'd like to discuss. Let's see. So Sunday bests. Did you have any Sunday bests? Did you have to go to town in your town bests? Did you have black suits with coloured speckles in it? I want to know. Let me know. And while you're at it, do me a favour, share this video. It helps me sort of gather more data and more ideas about our community. The other thing I'd like to say, instead of next Sunday, I'm going to take off the day on Sunday and move that to a Saturday, where next week we're going to be having fun and games. Wow, you can hear them actually. There's a hymn there right now. Let me get closer. Come back and see me next Saturday. Fun and games. It's nice to hear that. So they're having a hymn there on a Sunday. Meet me next Saturday. We'll go for fun and games in the Carnival Pram Race. I look forward to seeing you then. Until then, over and out. Brussels sprout. Happy Sunday, everyone. Have a good week.